Hey, what's going on, everybody? Well, we're back for another video today, and today what we're going to be focused on is this beautiful little rescue turtle that we've had for quite some time. And well, as the outdoor setup that we put together over the springtime that you can see right here is fantastic, it's getting cold in North Texas, and the water temperature in that pond is actually dropping down to a level that is unsafe for this little African side neck turtle. She needs to maintain a temperature in her water around at a minimum of like 70 degrees. So we've got to get her out and get her into something indoors to keep her safe. Now, everything else in this pond will stay safe over the winter time. The only thing in here are shabunkin goldfish and rosy red minnows, which have a high tolerance for cold water. In fact, this thing can fully freeze over and they will be perfectly fine in this pond. But this African side neck definitely needs to come in. So if you are new to the channel, you're going to hear the backstory of little Turtle Stew. That's right, her name is Turtle Stew in just a moment. But for anybody else that's been around for a while, make sure you drop a comment and let me know. Do you remember when we rescued Turtle Stew? Have you been around that long? I'd like to know. So make sure you leave a comment and let me know. But Turtle Stew is a beautiful little African side neck turtle, also known as a mud turtle, and she loves to bury herself in the dirt, hide under things. She does get out of the dirt and will submerge herself in the water quite often. She eats the fish and the plants and those kinds of things. In fact, I see her all the time eating the frog bit off the top of the pond. So we want to make sure we set her up in something nice and big for inside the house so she can stay warm during the winter time. And next year, when we revitalize this pond area, she'll move back out here for the springtime. I'm going to flash back here to when we went out to Petsmart and we actually picked up this beautiful little African side neck as a rescue. She had been owner released to Petsmart, and they're not allowed to sell animals, but sometimes they will take them in and store them until somebody is willing to adopt them, and that's exactly what we did. So let's take a look back at this. We are at a big box store, and the reason is because we came in earlier to pick up a filter for another video, and we were told about an animal that they have. So me and little Max Robert here are back at this store to pick this animal up. So stay tuned for this. We're gonna go ahead and set up an enclosure for it and get this thing home and take care of this thing. So we got little Max here. All right, guys, well, we got the turtle. He is in there. You can't really see him because it's really dark. It's like super dark.
We got all the lights on in the car, but you can't see him.
So I'd like to officially introduce you. Well, first off, before we get into introducing you, if you don't remember my little red ear slider, her name is Soup. Yes, as in turtle soup. So my thought is that we should give this guy a good name too. And you know, he's a cutie. So let me formally introduce you to Stew. Turtle Stew. All right, guys, well, this right here, this is little Turtle Stew. And Turtle Stew is an African side neck turtle. And as you can tell, he is super cute. I mean, he looks pretty well taken care of. And I say he, but I'm not really sure. We'll figure out exactly what it is, whether it's a boy or a girl. So what do you guys think? Do you like the name Stew? Should we go with Stew along with Turtle Soup? So we're gonna go ahead and get this guy's enclosure set up today. Let's get this enclosure done. So that's basically how we ended up with Turtle Stew. And like I said, we put together this epic pond and this terrestrial area for her and Turtle Soup as well. Turtle Soup is actually gonna stay out here because she will be just fine in the cold, as they are native to this part of Texas and they survive winters every single year. But Turtle Stew definitely has to come out of here. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go ahead and locate her, and it could take us a minute because she could be in the water. She could be buried under all the pine needles, which I constantly clean these things out, and it's a never-ending story because of that thing right there, and that thing right there, and that one there, and that one there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 pine trees right here that constantly do nothing but drop pine needles. So next year we may actually be moving this thing. I haven't decided yet, or we may be building something bigger and better, but you'll have to just stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so when we do decide what we're gonna do, you don't miss it. So what we need to do now is go ahead and locate her and find out where she's at so we can get her into something new for inside. So let's go start looking for her. Stew, you in there, Stew? Stew, not there, are you, Stew? Stu, you in here, Stu? 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 Nope, she's not in there either. Also, you see this right here? This right here is Amazon frog bit. We got tons of it. And we're selling this at freshwaterscrub.com. So go make sure you pick up some plants from freshwaterscrub.com, where some of them we grow here locally, some of them we get from a wholesaler. Just depends on what it is. But go pick up some plants from freshwaterscrub.com. See if Stu's back over here somewhere. I keep calling her like she's gonna come to me. You never know though. I mean, she's a good... Come here, turtle, 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 turtle. Come here, turtle, turtle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm having problems locating little turtle Stu. So we're gonna have to go underwater with this. So let's get under this water and see where she's at. Well, as you can see, there was no turtle Stu under the water, but we did get to see some shabunkins and some of those rosy red minnows. But we got one more place to check over here in this terrestrial area, which is where little turtle Stu like to hang out mostly, and that was under this fern. Now, this fern has already died because of the winter time, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out, and I bet you anything she's gonna be up under here somewhere. So, let's see. Oh, there she is right there. Look at that. Old turtle Stu. She's done buried herself in the mud. Look at her right there. All right, turtle Stu, we're gonna get you into a home for the winter time. You'll get to come back out here with your friends once it warms back up. All right, so we got a little turtle Stu out here. She's gonna sit right there. Hey guys, Stu here, over here at the Christopher Scott channel. I just wanted to let you know that I really love it over here because he takes great care of me. And in fact, he takes such great care of me that I'm gonna offer you 10% off all your plant orders at freshwaterscrub.com just for using my name as a code, Stu. You can see it right here on the screen. Don't tell Chris, but I'm actually going to let you use that for merchandise orders as well. So get over there and pick you up some plants, pick you up some merchandise, and hopefully I see you there soon. All right, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell as well. Let's get back into this build for my new home today. All right, guys. Well, I'm not sure what old turtle Stu was talking about over there to you guys. Hopefully she was being appropriate, because sometimes she's a little inappropriate, you know. So, but anyway, let's get back into this build today. So what we're gonna start with this Sterlite container. This is a 50-gallon tub that you can pick up at Walmart. They're like $24, I think, which is pretty cheap for 50-gallon volume. We're not going to fill this thing up completely with 50 gallons of water, but what we are also going to use this little flat tub right here, which is about 12 gallons. This container right here was about $7. We're also going to be using a couple of plants. This right here is a red vein plant, which this thing does really, really well in high humid, high wet areas, which I use a lot of these in terrarium builds and things of that nature, as well as some mondo grass. So that's about all the plants we're gonna have, because, well, honestly, she tears up the plants anyway. And we're gonna be using a few bricks. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff washed off and cleaned really well and get this thing started. So here is the concept for this setup. We are going to use these 6 bricks that we have just cleaned off and fully gotten cleaned here. We're gonna stack these up in a way where our black tub can sit right here on top stable. We're gonna make sure that's not gonna tip over or anything like that, and this is perfect just like this. We're gonna have to build a ramp system up into this, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do that now. But I'm gonna start by cutting some of this up here away, and then we'll go ahead and put the ramp system into this. So let's get that done now. So now that we have the front cut out like this, we can start working on a ramp system. Now I'm gonna use a ramp that I used last year for this, which will allow her to swim up right here and just go right into her container. We are gonna have to modify this a little bit, make it a little bit shorter, but this will give her the ability to swim right up here, climb up, and just go right into her tub. This rock is dirty. Normally I'd clean it, but this is actually just gonna act as a drainage layer for what we're building here. So we're gonna lay down this layer of gravel first, and then we're gonna come back in and we're gonna top this with some topsoil. Before we do that though, we're gonna go and place our ramp right up in here. What we're gonna do is go ahead and start planting this thing and get some plants in here. This right here will be strong enough to hold her when she's coming up out of the water. So what I want to start with is some of this mondo grass, and then our red vein plant. So there's no method to this really as far as how we're gonna plant this. I'm just gonna find a couple of spots and just bury these root systems here. And really what I wanna do is once I get this buried, I'm gonna put a little more dirt back into this section here. Actually, I'm gonna do that before I bury those. So what I wanna do, add a little more topsoil back into this back section because she is a mud turtle, so she likes to bury herself in the dirt. So I wanna make sure she has plenty of dirt to get buried down inside of. So we'll put this back here, just kind of leave it loose, and then we'll start burying some of these plants. So we may separate this one actually. We're gonna put one up here, kind of like an entrance plant, you know, like at the corner of your driveway. She'd be like, hey, this is my house. You know, hopefully she likes it. I mean, hopefully she likes the design aspect and such. Who knows though? She's a turtle, so she may not. She may like, be, hey, this sucks. Hopefully not. I doubt it, but you know, we'll see. So we got all that in here, and then what we'll do is we'll come back with a little bit of cypress mulch. Keep this back just a little bit. We don't want it like up into here. We'll leave this up here completely open. All right, so now that we have this done, she will have plenty of places to get up in here and hide and things of that nature. So what I want to do is lift this black bucket out of here, clean all the debris out of the bottom, and let's go get this thing set up inside where it's going to be so we can start working on the aquatic area. All right, well, we got this thing moved in where it's going to go, and everything looks good as far as the land structure here. Now we do need to water this and get all this stuff watered and such, but before we do that, what we want to do is go ahead and focus on the aquatic section. And to do that, what I want to do is go ahead and install the filtration. Now what we're going to be using for filtration today is something we've used many times in many different setups, and that's going to be the Zoom Ed Turtle Clean 318. Now the great thing about this will actually work in tanks up to 30 gallons, and the filtration on it is quite strong just simply because turtles are pretty dirty creatures. So this works really well in both a fish and turtle setup. Now we're going to go ahead and get this thing set up and unboxed and such, but this is a great deal. This thing is like $50 normal price at like Petsmart, Petco, but Petsmart will price match this to Chewy.com as well as to the Petsmart website, and you can pick this thing up for less than $14, and it's definitely a great choice. So Zoom Ed Turtle Clean 318. Let's get this thing opened up. One of the things that comes with is activated carbon as well as a sponge filter media, and it's kind of cartridge based. So what you're going to do is you're going to open this up, pull out this little cartridge, and you're going to fill this cartridge up with that activated carbon. Now you have enough in here to probably fill this thing up for 2-3 times maybe. So we got that completely filled up. We're gonna slide this thing back in here like this, and that's literally the setup. All we have to do is drop this in some water, plug it in, and we're good to go. So we're just gonna stick this filter right here to the wall of this plastic tub as it has suction cups on it. So just like that, and nozzle here that will direct water flow. It will also change the flow amount based on how much flow you need. So with that, this thing is completely set up with the exception of getting some water in here and getting it treated. So let's go ahead and get that done now. All right, guys, well, this thing is fully done with the water in it. Now what we need to do is go ahead and treat this water to dechlorinate it, and what we're going to be using for that is some of API's Aqua Essential. The reason is this stuff is great for dechlorinating water, and that's what we're going to put in here today. We are also going to be using some API Quick Start, which will add the needed beneficial bacteria for this water for the safe addition of fish, and the reason is, well, because we're going to be adding fish. Now that we've treated the water, we've got the beneficial bacteria in here. There's one thing that I notice here, and that is that this thing is starting to bow on the sides. And the reason is because I didn't buy a really high-end tub. I bought the cheap $25 one or $20 one, whatever it was. So what I've done to fix this, which actually is going to provide some hide and make her feel more comfortable in here while still being able to provide light for the plants, we've modified the top. So what I've done is just cut this half of the top off, which will give us enough light for these plants. Snap that on over there, snap it on over here, snap that on over here, snap it completely around, and we're good to go. And there we go. We lose the bow. Everything looks good. She now has a safe place up in the water where she doesn't feel seen and things like that, but we can still see down in where the plants are. So that's how we're going to prevent this bow from happening. But we're going to go ahead and take this top off because we need to go back into the back pond and we need to steal some of those rosy red minnows out of there. Oh, look right there. There went one of the shabunkins. We're going to see if we can get these guys to come up here. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Here, fishies. we're gonna start by dropping a little bit of this goldfish food in here. See if they come a-running. I mean, you can see some of the rosy reds coming up. There's one there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's one of the goldfish. Some more rosy reds. Oh, there's a goldfish over here. Look, here they come. Got two of them there. Let's take these guys over here. Go ahead and get that one too. Take those floating plants too. Look at all the goldfish. Can you guys see them? There's one right there. Big old huge tail on it. These things look fantastic. I have not seen these guys in a while, but look at that. I've got to get another polarized filter for my camera. All right, well, let me keep scooping these things up. All right, guys, well, we have a handful of goldfish and a handful of frog bit to go put into this tub, so let's get this in here. And our fish are down in there, and our plants. All is looking good. I have a couple more plants that we're gonna throw in here. We're gonna throw some anacharis, as well as we're gonna throw in a couple of java fern. Get some floating plants in here. Those will do well in here as well. So with that, we need to water this down up here, and then we need to get this turtle into her new home. Perfect. So we got that all wet down. We got our floating plants in here. You can see all of the rosy red minnows that are down in the bottom. The last thing we need to do is go ahead and get turtle stew in here. All right, guys, here's little turtle stew, and she is in her new enclosure. Let's go ahead and show her around. You got plants, little stew. You got water access, and I am sure the first place she's gonna go is right into the water. So let's see what she does. We're gonna leave her here. All right, guys, well, now that she has moved into the tub, we're gonna go ahead and cap this thing off just so she feels more comfortable while she's in here and gets acclimated, and we will check on her later on. All right, guys, well, it's been a couple of days, and, well, little turtle stew seems to be loving her new enclosure. I have come back in here and checked on her a few times, and all is good. She's always either in the water or up here in her land area, but she's doing really, really well. Little rosy red minnows are doing well also, and look, there she goes. She's going back there because she wants to hide and dig herself up into some little area, and that's where she's usually at, is right there behind that grass. She'll bury herself up underneath this mulch, and she'll stay there, but doing very, very well. Also, I know I'm gonna get the question. We do in fact have UVB and heat lamps for her that go on top of this enclosure, so all is good there. But just wanted to give you a quick update after the fact and show you how well she's doing. Before we get out of here, let's talk real quick about freshwaterscrub.com, where you can pick up all of your aquarium plants that you need, such as some bacopa, maybe a little embolia, some anacharis, a nice beautiful java fern, maybe a kleiner bar sword, or some kabamba, maybe a radican sword, or some wisteria, maybe a banana plant. Whatever your plant needs may be, make sure you check out freshwaterscrub.com and go pick up some plants. Right now, if you use the code STEW, you'll receive 10% off of your order. So make sure that you use the code STEW and go pick up whatever you may need over at freshwaterscrub.com. But with that, hopefully you guys went on to enjoy this video. Hopefully you enjoy the content, and hopefully you enjoy this new enclosure that we set up for little turtle stew here, where she's gonna be safe and warm during the wintertime. We will get her back out into a pond during the springtime, where we're gonna be doing all kinds of crazy things in the backyard as far as revitalizing and building crazy enclosures for other types of animals as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and with that, guys, we're truly grateful. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Links to all are in the description of every video, and we will see you next time.